So, good morning to everybody. I hope you slept well after the heavy dinner, the heavy day of yesterday and the dinner of yesterday. And I hope really that you all arrived safe and sound at home, at the hotel at least. We are online, so we are recording the seminars that we have today. And I would like really thank the speakers of today. We will have 4 speakers: Professor Laura Mugnai, Dr. Riccardo Dainelli, Dr. Simone Bregaglio, and Professor Claudio Fagarazzi that is coming. It's in a little bit delay. And the main topic of this staff exchange is related to abiotic and abiotic stressors and how to face them in viticulture. And just for the speakers, this project is an Horizon project, twinning project that is started in January 2022 and will last 3 years. And being a twinning project is a project that is doing research in viticulture and climate change, but very much focused on viticulture and climate change in Montenegro. And the final goal of this project, this program of Horizon, is to increase the research capacity of Montenegro. In our case, it's the university in Podgorica, on specific topics. So besides the research activity, we have also to organize activities in order to transfer the knowledge, to have updates, to increase the international cooperation of the partners in Montenegro, and consolidating the networking and cooperation among the consortium and also at European level. So this is the 3rd day of our 3 days meeting. The first day we had the project meeting, focusing on the activities that we have to do, the deliverables, blah, blah, blah. Then yesterday we had a workshop where invited speakers gave their speech on different things. We had also speakers from the winery industry. And today we would like to share with the colleagues from Montenegro and also from Germany and Luxembourg and Portugal, the state of art of the research of Italy, Florence, or institutes with whom we collaborate as UNIFID. And the partners are the 4 farms from Montenegro, winery farms. Then we have the Donja Gorica University of Montenegro, and then we have the PIT in Germany. And then we have from Portugal and also from Luxembourg. And from Portugal, we have also the university and also a society, institute that helps us in this communication, increasing capacity building, and so on. So I would like to introduce the first speaker, which is Laura Mugnai. Thank you very much. Mugnai is from the University of Florence, our department, and she's a specialist of pests and diseases in agriculture. Diseases. I'm a pathologist. Diseases, okay. And her speech is called Current Challenges, Innovative Approach in the Defense of Wines in Tuscany. I give you 20, more or less minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah, okay, you tell me when
Yes.
15 minutes have passed, so we'll know
Okay.
if I have 10 minutes more.
So that we can have, we can make some questions to Professor Mugnai, and I mean, the floor is yours, and I open your...
I have to stay here because of the microphone.
Because of the microphone, yes, because here the audio is not very well established, but we couldn't use the Aula Magna today. And I share your presentation. Okay. No, infatti la condivido ora. Vai.
Okay, so welcome to the session. Okay, good morning to everybody. I'm very happy to be here. I will be curious to know about the diseases you have, so I will be happy to have some comments after my talk or at lunchtime about the comparison between your and our situation. Of course, in 20 minutes to give an account of all the challenges we have and the control measures and the new approaches is not easy. So I will just fly over the slides to keep in time. And I hope that you will ask questions. Of course, talking about challenges, the first challenges are two aspects that have an impact on all pests and diseases, which is a need of reducing pesticides, and we will see some examples of how heavily this impacts on control of diseases, and the climate change that puts us in continuously changing situations, challenging situations sometimes, to which we are not fully ready. So talking quickly about the main diseases we are fighting for, we can surely go to Flavescens doré and wood diseases. We are talking about Tuscany, but I would say in general Italy. So these two are diseases that you see, they affect the leaves, but in fact they affect the whole plant and they cause death of vines. So they are really, and they are spreading, and we don't have really truly efficient control methods for both of them. Then I want to mention downy mildew, which is an old disease. We know it very well, but because of climate change and the reduction in pesticides, we are facing problems with it as well. Not only in Italy, this is really a situation in which we have to learn and use different tools. And I want to quickly just 2 slides to remind you that we also are facing problems with so-called minor diseases that were minor, but because of the pesticides reduction and the challenging climate situations are getting here and there more spread and more dangerous, which is Diaporta empelina, what was called excoriose in Europe, which is actually cortical necrosis, and the black rot, Phyllostritum pellicida. So just I cannot go through them, but remember that is another challenge that we have to go through. So Flavescens doré is surely the strongest because it increased very rapidly all over the southern countries in Europe and especially in Italy. You see that the situation is increasing, the incidence of the disease. The number of vineyards where we have the problem is increasing. You see that the problem with Flavescens doré is also that not only we have vines that are affected, but this infection is spread by a vector, an insect vector, which, as you see here on the right, is spreading all over. Tuscany, and it's limited by climate up to now, but despite this, so we were used to have it in the north, but now it's going down. And 20 years ago, we had just a few trapping in the very north of Tuscany. Now you see it's everywhere. And because it's a disease that is spread by vector, everywhere you have the vector, it's enough to have one plant that is infected for having the danger of an epidemic. You see here, it's Tuscany, October 22, a very beautiful area in Chianti, but this is not the October color, is Flavestras doré infected vines. And you see that when the growth starts again, plants are dead, and they have big problems in starting growth regularly. The plants in 2-3 years die. You see how the flowers die because of the obstructions of the phloem vessels by this phytoplasma thing. And the symptoms develop over the season with this strange shape and color of the leaves, which gets very bright in the late season, especially on red varieties. So quite an impressive disease. And you see how heavily the production is affected. Not only the plants die, but the production either is lost because of the death of the flowers or because of the wilting of the clusters. So what are we doing? First of all, I mentioned that the inoculum source is grapevine, because this insect only feeds on grapevine. So when you have infected grapevines, you have a source of inoculum. And here, this picture that was taken with the drone, with the collaboration of colleagues from CNR, you see here, it's an edge with wild growing vines that are not showing many symptoms because rootstock is not very affected, it doesn't show the symptoms. But you see here the concentration of infected vines. So you understand how heavy is the importance of inoculum sources, how important it would be to uproot the vines, and how important it is to detect early these infected vines, because the sooner you find them, the better, the lower is the risk of spreading the infection. So we are working on the real-time lamp that not only this is a method that is well known, but we are setting up a method for processing the samples quickly and efficiently even in the vineyard, so to detect quickly the presence of the pathogen. And the method is quite successful, and if applied widely, will be, I think, a great help. So Flavestras doré is a quarantine disease, so there are mandatory control measures at national, international level, European and national and regional level. And of course, it is concentrated not only on removing the vines, as I mentioned, but in reducing the vector presence, because it is a vector that really causes the epidemic. So there is a lot of work in teaching the growers to be more careful in selecting when to apply the chemicals, because here we have one example of the difficulties, the challenges given by the reduction of pesticides, of most effective pesticides, because they have a higher impact on the environment and on health. So we have less tools available, we must use them better. And so trapping or monitoring the younger stages, which are more susceptible to the action of weaker products is very, very important. So, because we have, as I mentioned, there are rules, there is a mandatory control, so we need to do some treatments which are indicated by the law on integrated pest management vineyards and on organic vineyards, with different products, of course. So we have this mandatory need of doing this monitoring of the two forms with the traps, with the odals, and with the visual monitoring in the young ones. but the uprooting of the infected vines remains essential, and it's essential to eliminate this tissue as soon as possible. And one thing that I want to remember is also, because sometimes we talk about innovative systems, but innovative systems sometimes are also to learn and pay more attention to things that we already know, like how to apply the chemicals is sometimes more important than the product we use. And this is very true on fluorescence control. These are examples of the products that are allowed and that you have to use in the two different viticulture regimes. Okay, so fluorescence the emerging urgent problem to solve that we are trying to face. But what is usually said in the world to be the worse problem, the more difficult problem to deal with on grapevine is wood diseases. Wood diseases are present everywhere grapevine is grown, and in different, with slightly different aspects, but for sure, you see there is a lot of activity on this. We founded an international group that meets every 2 years. And so it's a big problem everywhere, but in particular in Europe and in Italy. You see all the regions over the years say that the worst problem was ESCA disease and wood diseases in general. So a lot of research and activity on this aspect. And it's a disease that even in just the two of the vineyards that we monitored in the last years, you see that again, we have a strong influence of climate. So the very heavy rain that we had in 2023, last year, brings a higher incidence of the disease as well. So it's a disease that is also linked and pushed by this strong fluctuation in the weather that we are experiencing with climate change. And you see that 20% of the disease is not little for a grower. ESCA complex is a disease that affects the wood, but has this very peculiar aspect of changing the functioning of the leaves, even if the pathogens are not there, and affecting strongly the quality of the crop. So the wine is not as good quality anymore if the plant is affected. And I'm sure that you all know, well, the ones that stay in the vineyard surely know this disease because in Europe it's really very, very frequent. But I want to remind that it's not only those. We also have some dieback wood pathogens, dieback causing wood pathogens like Botryopsera dieback and the Diaporta dieback. And you see they are related to many different pathogens. There are some main ones, but they all cause death of the wood, losses, and at the end, losses of production. So even if they are not so visible like ESCA, they are still damaging. So these wood pathogens all get into the vines through the pruning wounds. So pruning wounds are the main source of infection, and the different symptoms that we see depend on the different pathogens that get in and on the different actions that they have on the wood. Infections start from the first wounds, so from the nursery. So in the nursery, we already have an impact of these pathogens, and therefore a lot of work that we do in Italy on reducing the impact of these infections. So what shall we do? What are we doing to reduce this problem? Let's say there are three main points. Let's keep the pathogens away, so prevent the infections, so protect the vines. The approach to our mistakes. What are we doing that has been increasing so much these infections? Which are the cultural techniques that have changed and that are bringing to such an increase? because these pathogens are not like Florence doré that is brought by vectors that came from US. These pathogens have always been around. So there is something that we are doing that we can do again better, looking backwards. And then weather, climate, environmental influence, that it surely has an impact on the life cycle of the pathogens and on the ability of the plant to react to the pathogens. So tools, biological control methods. So we have set up, and when I say we, I actually bring you information mostly on the things we have done, but we have worked on these diseases for 30 years. So, but in general, the community of wood pathogens of grapevine working on this subject has been implementing methods to reduce infections at the nursery level, hot water treatment, biological control methods, detecting which are the moments that are more critical for the infection. A lot of work that is done here is also to understand how to manage pruning, to reduce the infection and to help the plant to react, both aims. So a lot of work on keeping the sap flow so that the wood is more reactive, and really also how to make the wood. This is a paper that has just been published. There are little mistakes that we do that have a strong impact on this. And when we also want to act on directly in the vineyard with products, which is always what the growers ask. What shall I give to the vineyard to help me to counteract this problem? So the best thing is surely to use something to protect the wounds. Protect the wounds from infection. The better the wounds are made, the less is the risk, but still the risk of having spores that fly and infect the wounds is always high. So early protection of the wounds by trichoderma, biological control agents, you see how strong is the influence, how strong is the reduction, but you need to do it early. To do an early protection will keep the wood clean. Then very quickly, the fence inducers are used, and we are testing some more to help the reaction of the plant. We have helped setting up a method to monitor the vineyard and have an idea of the impact of the disease to decide how to manage it. For example, there are other interventions like a trunk renewal and the curettage, wood removal, rotten wood removal, which are still methods that are developing now, simple, old, but still effective to keep the plant alive for another while. And endotherapy. Endotherapy may also open new opportunities, and we're working on this. Then a quick last note on downy mildew, as I mentioned, because downy mildew has been really a problem. You see how many early infections we had in 23. It has been such a problem in the south and the center Italy because bringing to losses by from 30 to 50%. It's and which means it's an average. There is people that lost 100% of the crop. And of course, this is due to this extreme weather that we are experiencing now, with this continuous wetness for 3 months. So a lot of work is done on monitoring the plants, even with video cameras, to link the development of the factors that bring it to the development of the pathogen with the development of the plant. Attention on the plant protection products distribution, which can change a lot their efficiency. And the DSS, you have already talked about the importance of disease support systems and the models to represent the development of the pathogen. But this is not only done by the computer. We need to know which are the most sensitive areas, like with susceptibility maps, vigor maps that can help us to understand how to be timing in our intervention, and to monitor in the vineyard, to go with the boots and see how the plants are doing. And then, of course, using apps that have been set up to help in monitoring the situation. So these are the DSS, which you have already seen, that are available also at regional scale. And the very last one is resistant varieties. Resistant varieties are something that is under development. There are already many available. And the very important news is that in Milan University, they detected a variety of Vitis vinifera that is resistant to downy mildew. And this opens a great Pandora base on possibilities to maintain a high quality of the product, including this resistance. Very, very last, the active substances. Of course, we work on products that can substitute the heavier impact pesticides. Basic substances, plant strengtheners, and defense inducers are used and tested more and more on all these diseases, and biological control agents, which have quite become a regular tool used for disease control. So integrating joint actions, learning from the past, understanding the present, and valuing and exploiting what new techniques can offer is the approach that we need to have to coexist with all these plant disease agents. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. Any question?
Let's go to yeah.
You really scrolled very fast in the section about decision support system and models.
Because I saw you had a talk yesterday on that.
You can just
yeah.
Right. I wonder if this is the regional service of Tuscany.
This is a regional service of Tuscany. You get into meteo and modeling. I didn't put the slide because I saw there were too many. But yes, you can go in the website, and they adapted a more complex, they made an average. You see, this is Tuscany, and these blue spots are the meteo stations, and you search for the meteo station that is closer to your place. And of course, you know how important it is to really know in your vineyard, which is a risk, because this climate change also means scattering of different situations. So, but anyway, it's a great help anyway for not spending money because disease support systems need to be paid. And so it's a base. Yeah.
One general question. Italy. Is there some early warning system for pest diseases?
As I was mentioning, in the different regions, every phytosanitary service set up early these support systems. And for diseases, for example, they do send you an SMS with saying, okay, there is a risk of downy mildew, or you have to treat for Scaphoideus tetanus to prevent Flavescens doré. So they do send you an SMS or an email, you register for free, and they do tell you. But you can also go in the website and see the situation. They update it every week. But this alert is also very useful for your place.
Maybe just out of curiosity, is there also some research done regarding invasive pest diseases? So pest diseases that might are able, that are right now not able to establish in Italy, but under kind of change conditioning in like 15 or 100 years, they might find environmental conditions that are suitable?
Yes, there is on many pests here, also on forest pathogens, the danger of invasive pests, especially after the experience of Xylella, we are all in alarm. So we do monitoring, even for diseases that are not yet present, but we know that they may come because we have the right conditions. There are monitoring in the different territories. Not all the regions do it in the same way. Also depends on the crop that they are more keen on, so they can't do it on all crops, of course. But yes, there is a lot of attention on invasive pests and diseases.
Other questions? Thank you, Laura.
Okay.
So the next speaker is Gennaro, which is about application of sensing the seasonal culture. I will also like to 1 minute.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome again to Florence. I'm Riccardo Dainelli. I'm an agronomist, and I'm a researcher of the Italian National Research Council. Together with my group, we deal with the precision agriculture and remote sensing, especially for arable crops, grapevine, and olive trees. In this presentation, I will show AgroSat, that is our platform to monitor and control field and crops. I want to discuss some brief notes on remote sensing, starting from the type of platforms. As you may know, there are different types of platforms: satellite, airplane, and drones. All these have some pros and cons. Of course, satellite have spatial resolution, and often have like Sentinel-2 free images and pre-processed images. On the contrary, drones have a centimetric spatial resolution. They do not suffer from disturbing effects like clouds, but of course have high cost. So each platform is equipped with a sensor that acquire information not only in the visible spectrum of wavelength, but also in other part of the electromagnetic spectrum. We can categorize sensor in 2 main groups, active and passive. Active are those like radar and LiDAR that emitted themselves radiation, while passive sensors are those that acquire the reflected radiation from the Earth's surface. And among those, we can enumerate RGB sensor, multispectral sensor, thermal, and also hyperspectral sensor that has a high spectral resolution. Of course, the spatial resolution of an image depends on pixels, and this allows us to perform different analysis at different scales. As you can see in the image here on the right, I roughly recognize if there is some buildings or vegetation, while here on the left, I can even count the houses. Radiance and reflection acquired by sensor can be used to generate several vegetation indices. The most famous is the NDVI, as you know, and it is based on the response in the red and infrared bands. In healthy vegetation, this index is 1, and because there is a high reflection in the near infrared and high absorption of red light. Okay, among the most popular satellite platforms, there is Sentinel-2, that is a European satellite launched in 2015 and 17, equipped by a multispectral sensor. Its main features are spatial resolution in three different lengths: 10 meters, 20 meters, and 60 meters. It has 13 spectral bands, and in AgroSat we use band 2, 3, and 4 that are RGB, B8 near, and B12 that is shortwave infrared. Sentinel-2 has a revisit time of 5 days. That means that it passes upon the same point of the Earth surface every 5 days. And it has a swath width of 290 kilometers, generating tiles that are images with a side of 100 kilometers. Okay, our CNR and AgroSat mission is based on three main pillars. We do research and we produce scientific output. The second one is technological transfer, and then the third is training promotion. Together with my research groups, our aim is to support first food security, and by producing more and with less environmental and social impact. This is our homepage, and AgroSat is a platform based on satellite and weather data. It was initially conceived to help low-income farms, such as those cultivating arable crops, vegetables, and pastures. But we are open also to enlarge our platform, and is always open the opportunity to customize the platform according to user needs. Of course, the platform was created to facilitate the adoption of precision agricultural techniques by the farmers. This is our history. The idea was born in 2015, and the platform was growth brick after brick. And we started with 4 Italian regions in the south, then all Italy. We also developed a studio package that is a package for analysis of production unit, that is the field of the farmers. And then in 2021 and 22, we inserted some package regarding fungal disease risk models in wheat. And also we connected AgroSat with Granoscan, that is a mobile app for the automatic recognition of wheat disease, pest, and weeds. One of the main results of this platform was the insertion of AgroSat in the Copernicus use case list from European Union, and it is the only one Italian example for agriculture in this list. From several years also we go beyond the Italian borders to monitor also other European area in France, Germany, and East Europe. Fresh new features of the platform developed in 2023 are the possibility of setting the working width of the machinery when you are creating the prescription maps. Also, you can upload the yield data collected by combined harvester and generate yield maps. And we give the possibility to the user to exploit both the yield map and the NDVI through a data fusion process to generate prescription maps for fertilization. AgroSat has a broad interoperability, that is, we use data from different sources, of course, free image from Sentinel-2, but also climate data for ACNWF, Copernicus Global Land Service products, and so on. Also, we use ground data coming from the regional network station. Okay, I'm trying to have a live demo of the platform. I hope it works. Okay, this is our homepage, and then we can go.
Però c'è uno o l'altro. Poi tu si fa, si torni sulla presentazione. Questo. Non si vede. No, ho messo schermo. Ci c'è sempre queste cose. Ok.
Okay, so you can browse your field to the map.
It's not visible from remote.
Okay. Okay. As I stated, you can browse your field from the map, and so Habitat has two different levels of interaction. You can access the platform as a free user or as a registered user. I can try to draw a production unit for vineyard. We are in the zone of the Chianti zone between Siena and Florence. Okay.
You got me for science.
Okay.
If you want to go there.
No, I have to only to check the right position. Okay. And when you have found your binary, you can draw the production unit like this way. So with few clicks, and that's it. And then you can visualize at the first glance the RGB image, and then you can browse from the calendar the available dates of Sentinel-2 images. For example, I choose this one, and then you can go through the products. First one is the soil water content. That is a product derived from a CNR model that employs NDVI and B12 bands of Sentinel-2. This index goes from 0 to 1, but in real field condition, values go from 0, that is no water in the first 10 centimeters of soil, to 0.5, 0.6. Another product is the NDVI that monitor the vigor of the vineyard. Of course, it ranges from 0 to 1, but in vineyard there is a mixed pixel situation. So if I go, for example, in June, where the vigor of the vineyard is maximum. Okay, I don't reach values of 1, but I mean maximum values are from 0.4, 0.5, because there is the effect of base soil together with the vegetation. And so another product that we are proud of is the possibility to generate the prescription maps here. Okay, you can generate the prescription maps for fertilization in 2, 3, or 4 classes of categorization. And also you can visualize the map with high resolution. You can also set the working width of the machinery. And here in this window, you have to insert the quantity of nitrogen, for example, and the percentage of nitrogen in commercial products. If I use urea, I can generate, okay, here the maps. Okay, I can shift also in different classes. One on the main features of these maps is the possibility to download it also in the ISO XML format that is compliant with the ISO standard. This format allows you to upload this type of maps into onboard computer of the tractor, and then goes for variable rate technology fertilization. Okay, dashboard. Also, AgriSat has a section dedicated to the management of the production unit. Here, you can modify the border, rename, duplicate, or cancel the production unit, and also you can visualize direct in the field your production unit. In this tab also, weather forecast, 5-day weather forecasts are provided for the specific production unit, and here you have temperature, humidity, direction, intensity of wind, and rainfall. And this chart can be downloaded as graph or raw data. We provide also weather data, and you have to choose always your production unit and the start of the period of observation, for example, the 1st of January, and the length of the observation. Okay. Data retrieved from the nearest network station of the agrometeorological regional services, and you have also temperature, humidity, cumulative rainfall, and wind, and all in some cases also leaf wetness here, and solar radiation. Okay, I show you the last part of AgriSat, that is the studio section, in which we can analyze also some agrometeorological parameter of your production unit. Okay. Computation on the flight, so you have to wait a few seconds, and then you get, for example, the phenological development here. In this case of wheat, we fix the sowing date, and then we have just passed the emergent phase, and we are going towards elongation stem phase. You can also visualize the temperature, the air temperature regarding your production unit. In this case, you can see some peaks of the current season over the climatic average. And so okay. I go back to the presentation, and I want to show you our recent. Okay, these are the last two slides. So I want you to show our recent research on viticulture by using AgroSat platform. We conceived this research activity for testing and validating pre-expression maps for fertilization in a farm called Matese that is here in the Chianti wine area. This farm has about 80 hectares, and we estimated that using a commercial service for mapping all the vineyards with precision map fertilization cost about 20,000 euros, while AgroSat provides this service for free. Okay, here you can see the experimental vineyard, and this is the VRT machinery for fertilizer spreading. And we choose two different vineyards for the experimental design with two management zones retrieved by the NDVI index, namely low vigor and high vigor. We monitored two interrows with 4 blocks, and in these 4 blocks we weighted fertilizer and pruning biomass. Preliminary results shows that the different vigor zone are selected properly because the pruning by the smallest amount of pruning by biomass is retrieved in the low vigor zones, and the biggest amount of pruning biomass is in the high vigor ones. Regarding precision distribution, here the results show that the machinery distributed so different amount of nitrogen according to different vigor zones and according to the classes of the maps. So future development are aimed to check if all the vineyards is connected to the prescription maps, and also we want to understand if there is a small saving in nitrogen with this type of distribution. And so here are the contacts. Thank you.
Congratulations for the country and you managed to I have one question regarding the legislation.
Mm-hmm.
The legislation of Marcel, the station Marcel. How do you estimate the pressure in the relation?
Okay, the system doesn't find a weather station in the radius of 10 kilometers. We go with medium values for the area. Of UMETSAT and all these type of the WRF model, and so we use this type of data. Yes. Yes. You're welcome.
Yes, you mentioned that the difference between cereals and the great white is that you don't have two-dimensional system. And for me, the problem is that we maybe, if you look in this direction, maybe just 30% of your picture is coming from the great white. Do you understand what I mean? You look more on the soil and on the great white, depending on the size of the canopy.
Okay.
Do you have any technique to differentiate or discriminate between the soil and the great white?
And not
you might cut out the information from the soil. Because if they're just a tractor pass and cutting grass, I guess people will be completely different.
Okay, not in this platform, of course. Yeah. When you use drone, we have some algorithm for the cut of soil and vegetation. But like Professor Mugnai says, there is Agrosat for the vineyard is a sort of an instrument to see macro zones, and then I go with the detailing operations. So for vineyard is a sort of pre-instrument to operate directly in the field, because it was conceived for cereals, and then we put some vineyards as experimental fields when we do research project.
I was thinking maybe there's a signal giving you information if you are seeing the soil, drink out of the canopy of the vine. I don't know if
also the problem is the resolution of Sentinel-2, that is 10 meters. So inside the pixel you have a mixed situation.
So you don't see on the picture, but in the map you've shown, you see the single row. But in the satellite data, you don't see that.
No, because it's unable to distinguish the single row, because the spatial resolution is too close. You have to change maybe in other type of platform like drones. We have to buy some satellite images, maybe of Worldview, you know, the satellite that has a 1 meter resolution. But Sentinel-2 is for free.
Trying to do some other satellites on the public services like
We use only Sentinel-2 images. Yes, the workflow is, I think, is projected only for Sentinel-2 images.
I have also one question. I mean, when you are developing a platform, the main question is always for whom. So, in your long experience, because you developed since the beginning, who are the users of this platform? Farmers, policymakers, decision making, or agronomy scientists? Because then you have to take a choice, you know, because as you said before, this gives an information at a not so detailed scale, but just give you more insight of what is happening there. And so I was wondering which kind of choice are you taking?
Yes, as I said before, the end users are mainly farmers. In Italy, there is a problem that the farmers don't have IT skills, very high IT skills. So also in Matese farm, we see that only one person is able to provide us a shapefile and to upload this in the platform to have onto the borders of the field. But our end users are mainly farmers or technicians. And the problem that you say about the course detail of the platform was, like I said before, because the platform was born for cereals that has biggest field comparison to vineyards.
also because of the resolution of the light images.
Okay, yes.
And so, I mean, every farmer can access to the platform for free,
For free, yes.
okay? And so you have also an app developed for that. You have an app. Mobile
Yes,
app.
yes. We have a GranoScan app already released in the App Store and in the Google Store, and it is focused on wheat for detection, for automatic detection of the wheat's pest and disease of wheat. And it's connected with GranoScan because through the platform you can geolocalize the photo you have taken in the field. There is a tab, a special tab in which we can visualize the photo and the position.
But if I have a farmer in Kenya, can he use this platform or it's only focused on Italy, Tuscany, or Europe?
The platform is covered only on Italy, and within the search project we monitor also some areas of Germany, France, East Europe. But if you are interested, we can open a new research activity and we can upload, for example, image by Sentinel-2 for Kenya or for other countries. There is no problems. The issue is that we use only some Sentinel-2 image for some zones.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Other questions? So next is Simone. Also, people from remote can make some questions if you wish. So sorry I didn't tell before, but feel free to raise your hand or simply interrupt us when we are speaking, also from the people from remote. Okay, just a few words for the logistics. We will have a coffee break at around 11, 15, 11, I mean, as soon as we finish. And then we will have the project meeting on research after the coffee break. So the speakers, if they want, they can leave, and then we will have the light lunch together. And if you want to join us, you're really very welcome. And then we will close our 3 days MONTEVITIS meeting. Ah, non è più, non avevi questa cosa qui? Ah. Sì, so cosa fa, no? Anna, aspetta, vediamo. Sei sicuro? Sì. Da un po' di problemi. Va bene. Aspetta,
io lo tocca bene, giuro. Aspetta. Se mi provai ancora.
Certo, se no non va.
Vediamo.
Vogliamo fare scrivere. Se no non va. Vogliamo provare sul Mac.
Ok, va bene.
Veramente sorry, we have some problems with the presentation of Simone Bregaglio. But just a few minutes and in the meanwhile, I kindly ask all of you to fill in the questionnaire. So take this time for doing that, please. Leva. And I was wondering, Natasha or Marco, I will give you the questions to you. Okay, the fillet one. Okay. So you can bring them to Montenegro, I mean, to your head office. Okay.
Non perché non mi è finito.
No, figurati, non ho nemmeno pensato. Vedi io metto l'acqua bene la mia, dove l'hai messa? Questo. Chi te l'aveva data la spennetta tua?
Finora funzionava.
Vai, te l'ho sciupata.
Adesso.
Oh, allora se c'hai 40 scenari in presentazione, quindi queste le levo, ok? Però aspetta, ora questo levare la mia chiavetta, vero? Va bene. Io l'ho copiato.
Forse mandarci direttamente da cima.
Non la vedi.
O fai così, è questo.
Niente.
Se fai così. Te la metto così.
Se faccio spelli. Tanto te la condivido.
So as you have filled in the questionnaire, you can start.
Have you filled the questionnaire?
Sorry.
Okay, so thank you for inviting me first. Thank you, Camilla, for this invitation and for the opportunity to bring to your attention the work we are doing in these two projects. And I would like to, okay, first, these two projects are AgriSense, which is also a Horizon Europe project funded within the Key Digital Technology Program of the European Union. And the other is Mystics, which has no logo yet, which has been founded really some months ago from the Ministry of Agriculture and Sovranità Alimentare. We changed the name of the ministry according to the new government. Okay. I would like to give a brief overview and a step back before entering into details about models, diseases, and artificial intelligence used to develop decision support system. And I would like to give you my personal view of the market and of the current situation, let's say, of agriculture. Okay. First of all, we have two pictures there. Farmers in Europe are old. More than 60% of farmers have more than 55 years. Less than 10% farmers have less than 30 years. So agriculture is one of the sectors in which employees are older in general. And we are
living a transition. So we expect in the future to have LGBTQ plus farmers, I don't know, but for sure we will have people that are more and more sensitive and careful about the environment, about the sustainability of their production chain. So this is let's say the real stakeholders. What we do in agriculture is the final user, the final stakeholder is always the farmers, and they are changing. They are changing view, and they are changing also habits. And I draw these two drivers of change. The first is free of charge and on demand. So on the two sides of this Cartesian chart, and then there are public service and private companies. Just to give you an idea of what is in Italy the situation, I put some logos here from the regional phytosanitary services, and I didn't include Tuscany because we don't work yet with this region, but still we work with 10 regions, which, as Laura was saying before, as each of them has their own decision support system, has their own methodology to monitor weather and to give advices to farmers. Okay, so they are in the public sector and they provide free service. Agrostat, for instance, could lie into this quarter of the chart. Then we have private companies. Private companies, in Italy, we have Horta. Horta is one of the most widely known, and yeah, I don't know if you heard about it. Is a spin-off. It was a former spin-off of the University of Piacenza that now has been bought by BASF. So BASF, Corteva, Bayer, Yara, Adama, they are the big players. The chemicals in industry. So they drive the market, and they need this startup or spin-off like Horta, but like X-Farm, Agricolo, Plurif, or even Terra Clima, Elysian, ITK, which is French, Taranis, which is Israeli, and Ecoclimasol, still French. So these are small startups that starts their business trying to give something new to the farmers in terms of services, in terms of models, decision support system, monitoring, real-time monitoring through remote sensing, and so on. So they are promising to the farmers to have a better characterization of their orchard, to have let's say, an updated view of what is happening in their field. This is the claim they have. But of course, these private companies need to make profit. And so this BASF, Corteva, Bayer needs this startup. They make a joint venture, or they actually buy them. And this is really dangerous, because if we want to reduce if we want to halve the pesticide use, as Laura was saying before, and this is the objective of Green Deal of the European Union, then we must be very careful about relying on private entities. Still, there are these private companies usually have a free plan in which you can use their services for free. But if you want a custom service, more detail, more information, then you have to pay. And these companies, speaking about pests and diseases, arrive also to give you advice on which chemicals to use. So let's think about how dangerous is the link between the big companies and the private sector. Then there are other projects. What we have just seen from Riccardo is a perfect example of a public service, free, working for everybody in Italy. So it's really a a cutting-edge technology, what we have seen right now. Misfits, AgriSense are the two projects in which we are working, and Misfits is both are public because also AgriSense is funded by European Union, and there are some companies like Blue Leaf, Sysman that try to access to the European funds in order to improve their service. So when we speak about models, maybe this is very, very basic. So sorry if I'm saying very common things that you already know, but just to have an idea of what is a model, the simplest one that I know is this one. We have an algorithm in which you evaluate three conditions: the temperature of the last 24 hours, the length of the buds, of the twigs, of the grapevine, and the amount of rain in the last 24 or 48 hours. And then, if these conditions are met, then you can give to the farmers an advice. So let's apply a chemical treatment. This is the 310 rule developed in 1957 by Baldacci, and then they adapted in Australia to have another slightly different formulation, and based on this, Godianic developed his well-known tables. These are models, actually, and you may think that this is already part of the past, but it's not true. For instance, Liguria region in Italy still use this service. One thing that is very important to say, in my view, is that the transparency of the models implemented by the startup that deliver services to the farmers is a key issue. Many times you buy the service and you have the advice, but you don't know exactly what is behind the scene. What is the algorithm that is producing that output? In this case, it's quite simple. At least it's very simple, but at least you know which are the drivers. In reality, the epidemiological cycle of a Plasmopara viticola is much more complex, and you can see here a graphical representation. So starting from the 70, 80, people tried to encapsulate this process into process-based model. They are called like that, process-based. These models are actually complex, so in order to be used by farmers, they need some kind of translation. One is, interpretation, let's say. One is this one. It's just one of the many, many examples of process-based models that actually exist for this fungal pathogen. Caffi et al., University of Piacenza, Horta, Professor Rossi, the school of Professor Rossi, very well known in Italy. He embedded these algorithms in order to reproduce what is happening to the fungus. And they produce nice chart in which you can follow each cohort of spores. Plasmopara survive in the leaves, on the litter, then as oospores. Then when the conditions are favorable, it produces sporangia, then zoospores. And you can follow with these lines the trajectories of each cohort. Still, the translation of these complex models to the farmers need some interpretation. So in the last years, these are more 90s style graphical user interface, but still they are used. Many people developed decision support system based on this process model or even simpler ones like the empirical 310 rules. And we have plethora of realizations. Once a model say there is an alert, they send an SMS. Before Laura said they send an SMS, and it's true. But nowadays it seems somehow old speaking about a message in the phone. So what I think we will experience in the next years is this kind of thing. So maybe we will not have anymore this 90s old-fashioned graphical user interface, we will have a more advanced one. But still, the outputs of the model need to be processed by domain expertise. We have, I really agreed with Laura when she said innovation is not new things, but it's knowing better what is already in place. Here we have, in Italy, for instance, and this is my experience, but I'm sure also in your country, you have people that know very, very well these diseases. They are part of the regional services, they are professors in the university, and so on. So by using their knowledge, we can build some rules for plant protection based on model outputs, but also based on their expertise, their profound knowledge about the system. Then there are large language models. Nowadays, we cannot avoid to speak about large language models in decision support system. In the clinical sector, in the medical sector, they are already used. There are lots of papers in 2023 using ChatGPT to see if these large language models can replicate the diagnosis made by humans, by doctors. Why not using them in decision support system for plant diseases? Just to have a broad picture of the pesticide use at the global level, European Union is the second large user of pesticides, including fungicides, herbicides, insecticides. If you look at the share of these chemicals, you see that, for instance, the European Union has a very big share of fungicides, whereas in the US, it's not like that. The big player there is herbicides. Of course, we are also using herbicides, but in Europe, there is a massive use of fungicides. And here you can see the trend. So we are quite stable trend at the European level, a big increase in China, then it's reducing, but still accessing to this data in a correct, in a robust way is very difficult. So these are FAO estimates. If you look at the major users of pesticides in Europe, you see these two converging lines. One is France and Germany, I would say. So they are decreasing this use. Italy and Spain are increasing. So now France and Italy are the most impacting countries on the environment, because we can also say that. If you look at the scientific evidences of the need, of the effectiveness of the decision support system, there is this very bright article published in 2021 by these people, and they did a meta-analysis in which they analyzed 80 experiments, which showed that the implementation of decision support system can actually reduce the number of fungicide treatments by 50%. So this is in line with what the European Union is asking. For a given fixed number of fungicide spray, decision support system were as effective as calendar-based programs. So you can reduce the number of fungicides and have the same level of control. But there is this other article, which is quite older now, 2013. This guy, Danish Skienberg, he was also a very, very active developer of decision support system. He analyzed why decision support systems are very effective, affordable, they can be used, but they are not still practice, they are not still part of the routinely practice of farmers. So there are decision support systems, but they are not used. And he tries to identify which are the reasons why these DSS are not so used. And he identified technical, professional, economical, social, and psychological factors. If you are selling something or if you are pushing someone to do something, you need to be convincing, you need to be beautiful in what you are explaining, in what you are offering. You need to make the user part of the development process. And this is the key aspect that he outlined. So just a quick outlook of this project, AgraSense. So here the European Union says, okay, we need to empower our startup. So we give 60 million. This is the total funding of this project in order to empower very, very small startup. So in this case, we are moving in the frame of precision viticulture, following this very simple scheme. So we need to acquire data from the vineyard with different sensors, also innovative sensors, and we will see some examples. Then we need to extract the information, because you can have lots of data, big data, but then you have to extract some information to them and make this information readily, easily readable from your users. And so this is the frame in which we are moving. So we have spectral sensor, hyperspectral images, both from drones and from cameras. Then weather sensor and soil sensor. These are quite common instruments. Then one thing that I think, one sensor very promising is VOC sensor, volatile organic compounds. Plants emit some isoprene, monoterpenes when they are attacked from some pathogens, but also when they are experiencing water stress, nitrogen stress. So having these VOC sensors in the field can give you an early warning of what's the real health of the vineyard. Plant sensors, this Vivent is a Swiss company that is developing electrophysiological sensors in order to have a real-time view of the water status of the vineyards. Then we have spore sensors. Spore sensors are key when we are speaking about diseases. And maybe someone is familiar with the Lanzoni spore trap. It's a myth. Lanzoni, very small company in Bologna actually, that developed this spore trap. The mechanism is quite simple. There is a pump of that ingests air. This air is sent to a tape, and this tape captures the spores of the fungi. But then there is the need of people going there, taking out the tape, look at the microscope, and so on. This spore sensor is actually something that avoid the human effort, human labor. There is an artificial intelligence algorithm that classify the spores taken from that device and recognize Plasmopara viticola and powdery mildew. These are two fungal diseases of grapevine, of course. This is under development. What is the problem? The cost. One single device costs like 100,000 euro right now. They are put in Switzerland to monitor pollen availability, and so it's a public service. If we want to use this in the vineyard, we need a consortium, we need a project, we need funds to install these devices. Okay, in this project we are also working with the CREA viticulture and enology experimental farm in Conegliano, and we are doing a field experiment in which these devices are put in the field. The other experience that I would like to bring to you is the misfits one. This is just a very simple scheme in which we are trying to ingest different layers of information, weather databases. We now have ERA 5 land, for instance, 0.1 degree grid resolution for the whole Europe. We can use this data. These data are there. Agrostat is using them. The single farmer maybe is not yet capable to write a script to download this data continuously. But in few years, farmers will be very skilled with the IT. So they can even build their own weather stations. And there are already examples in Italy of farmers doing these IoT sensors by themselves and putting on the web manuals on how to do them. So other people can do this. And anyway, there are agrometeorological stations. In Italy, we have quite a good network. Remote sensing data, some of them are available, some of them are on demand. Weather forecast, we can rely on private sector or public weather forecast. And then models, which are at the core, and the delivery of information. In this project, which started as an autonomous and collective action by regional services and CREA without any funds in 2018, we developed a protocol, a smart app, in order to monitor these fields. We wrote a manual on. It's important to say that this manual is built, and also the app, with the stakeholders, which are, in this case, the regional services. So we interacted with them, asking them, which is the workload for going once per week in your fields? And by interacting, we defined these protocols. Actually, we have more or less 1,000 monitoring since 2020. This is a dashboard that shows how this monitoring is performed in the 10 regions that are participating to this project, and through which you can actually see what is the evolution of the symptoms of downy mildew and powdery mildew and botrytis, so gray mold. And by collecting this data iteratively in different years, we are able now to reconstruct the history of the symptoms onset in Italy in a certain year. This is 2022. These are the BPCH phase for phenology and the province NATS 3 level in Italy in which these symptoms were detected. Now we are implementing the system with more advanced user interfaces. In this project, Misfits, we are also developing models. I said there are lots of alternatives. We developed a new model in collaboration with the extension services. And this is the key, let's say, the fil rouge of this concept. So all the realization were agreed, discussed, changed with the regional services. Last year, we developed a new model, a very simple one, in which we consider just temperature, relative humidity, and leaf wetness response. And we parameterize it for different passages, the one which are priorities for the regional services, and we implemented a dashboard which was updated every day. They could go there and see in some specific spots the risk of the disease categorized into 5 levels, from very low to very high. Also, this was decided with them because they need some simple message to give to the farmers. So the risk is medium, very low, very high. This is a Likert scale, very, very useful when you have to deal with categorical variables. Okay, this I can just skip, but I would like to focus here. Here we analyze the phytosanitary bulletins that by law each region must deliver every week. So we analyze these bulletins from 2012 to 2007, categorizing by these 5 classes, from very low to very high, the risk which was written in the phytosanitary bulletins. So we build a new data set of very low, very high risk. And by analyzing this data, we can see that already the regional services are implementing IPM principles, integrated pest management principles. So they are considering the weather through the years. So for instance, 2017 was a very dry year, so the risk that was delivered by this region is very low, just a small yellow, that means high. But there are other seasons, 2013, for instance, where the risk was very high. And this is the advice given by the regional services, without any models, just in the phytosanitary bulletins. Okay, another step in which we interact with the extension services was on the susceptibility through phenological stage. Phenology is the key, for instance, of one pillar of the plant protection strategy, because you can have a very high risk of a pathogen, but if you are in a non-sensitive phase, then you can even consider this risk negligible. Otherwise, if you are in a very sensitive phenological phase, you have to be very careful. So there, for instance, there are some, these curves were drawn by the people that actually know the disease. And by analyzing this data, we were able to build a function which reproduced the dynamic of plant host susceptibility. Okay, I skip this part because I have no time. Just to keep, okay, this is quite interesting for me, because here you have 8 models of downy mildew. 8 different models that should say the same thing. So when there is an infection of downy mildew, primary infection. And you can see that the MC is DIMCAS model, Laure, and so on. All of these models actually reproduce a similar geographical pattern. So in the north of Italy, you have more infections than in the south, very roughly. But the differences are huge. In crop modeling, we speak about ensembles. Why not speaking about ensembles in fungal disease models? By complementing these, the answers of different models, maybe we can gain higher accuracy. And finally, the use of GPT. This is the generic model, and this is an example of one station. There was the advice that was given by the engine 3.5 turbo of ChatGPT last year. So when an extension service go to the platform, he can read something very similar to what he is going to write in the phytosanitary bulletin. Now we are testing another engine, ChatGPT 4, which is much better, as you can see also in this example. So the idea is, if we call these large language models with outputs from the disease models, with weather variables, with domain expertise, it can elaborate some synthesis of the information provided and give a clear message to the farmers. Finally, we are analyzing these messages with the sentiment analysis in order to see if, for instance, when there is a very low risk predicted by the model, the main sentiment provided by ChatGPT is assured, essential, wording, anticipating, attentive. If we go to very high risk, we see, for instance, concern, resolute, okay, encouraging, and so on. Okay. We are trying to understand how it works, how ChatGPT can actually work. a very, okay, I don't have any more slides.
Presentation. Do you have any questions? Okay, I have one question because you started saying that the future farmers will be much more IT familiar than the actual situation, the actual scene. But in the end, you suggest a way of communicating what to do in the old-fashioned way.
When you say the old-fashioned way,
I mean, you're using as but now, so it means that that the farmers prefer to have the text that is written instead of charts, instead of colors and stuff like that. So in my view, if I think that, I mean, for instance, my children would be farmers say in 10 years, for instance, they would be able to be maybe a chart and colors and diagrams and blah, blah, blah. So maybe they would not need to have a written text.
okay. Even if, for instance, once I have to read a scientific article, the first thing that I search for is chart.
Yeah.
So yes, charts are immediate, but still, I think that the how can I say? I don't know. I don't have a clear answer.
So I was thinking maybe we should also think to have a sort of chart that are able to communicate the different charts. So they
yeah. Okay. So yes, you are suggesting something that is very, very precious for me. So the way the information is delivered through, for instance, visuals and sound. Why not? If you have a sensor of, for instance, a soil sensor in the ground, it produces waves. These waves can be represented as a chart, but they can also make sound. So the farmer connecting to a web page can hear its soil, can see the development of the disease rendered with some three-dimensional artistic realization. This is something that is happening for raising awareness. I don't know if you look at Google some days ago, there was this link to some resources in which they show the impact of climate change. Have you looked at this? So these are they can be done. I think that the connection, the link between science and social sciences, because these are part of social sciences and arts, is still very weak, but it can improve in the next years. Yes. Just a comment. Yes, the text can be too simple. But for instance, if we deliver a text message in dialect, in a regional dialect, which is understandable by farmers, which know English and Italian and many other languages very well. But still, if they can see the language that has been spoken by their mother, by their grandmother, that they hear in the house, but they are not familiar with this, this can be a point of, how can I say, contact.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. So these are And we see that we have some uncertainty with consumption stuff. So my question is, how can we transfer to stakeholders, this uncertainty in the models, and if this inflation of the uncertainty is useful or because they get in the confidence.
Yeah, you centered the point. For instance, in other projects, we are working with the yield forecast for hazelnut, for the very, very big, famous Italian company, and they don't want to have, let's make some numbers, 800,000 tons in Turkey, plus minus 10%. They don't want to see plus minus 10%. They just want the number. First of all, I think that there is a need to analyze the outputs of the model systematically. Then maybe to infer from the different model responses a common answer, which can be a weighted average of the models or even something more advanced. And then it's a big issue. But if you think about the weather forecast, for instance, you have tomorrow is raining 20% or 80%. There is this concept. In farming, maybe the key here is to don't overweight the relevance of models themselves, but to make educational support, for instance, on the specific management practices. This can help. And then the final decision is always of farmers. Just a thing, in some years, we will have the electronic farm diary. I don't know in English. So it will be essential for farmers to record every operation that they do. So the things are changing, I think. So it's a very big problem.
Thank you.
Now, okay, we have the final speaker, Claudio Fagarazzi, Professor Claudio Fagarazzi. Qual è questa? PowerPoint. Questa prendo. Anche 20 minuti. Ti faccio 25 minuti.
Hello, good morning. I'm Claudio Fagarazzi from the Agri Department of Florence. I am a forest economist, so wine just to drink. So it's, if you have some question, please ask to some other. And I'm involved in this study concerning the evaluation of economic effect of climate change in wine production and in general in agricultural production. I don't know if you know, but the economic effect that you have made by the climate change, you can consider two types of effect. The long-term production losses is a trend effect. So we know the temperature increasing and water problem, etc. So we have a trend effect with connected to the reduction of annual production. Okay, and but we have also the direct damage, and is linked to the extreme event. So like snow, like cold temperature. So we have some some extreme effect. For example, last year in Emilia-Romagna, probably you know, and we have two types of damage. I have find a study concerning the impact, economic impact in Europe, and I don't know, but the evaluation. No, it's not possible to see, but in Italy, the effect, the impact of the climate change is estimated about 3 billion euro, the 3 billion US dollar. In France, 6 billion, and in Spain, 2 billion. But this evaluation is linked just to the impact of drought. So we have other impact. So we have the frost, the snow, the flood, the rain. So we have other impact that we don't consider in this evaluation. And this is important aspect for a farmer. So you have to decide. So you have an enterprise, okay? You do the investment, and until 30 years ago, you have a very low risk of investment. Now change the risk in production and change the economic sustainability of the enterprise. So probably now we'll arrive, I show you after the data, probably the risk is like the stock market, like Wall Street, but the revenue is not the same. So this is very big problem for farmer. And a lot of exposition before suggests some specific resolution to mitigate the effect. And this is Simone showed before regarding the sentiment analysis linked to the risk. This is an important aspect because in the farmer is now a very big problem for the economic sustainability. And this evaluation is linked just to the financial aspect of the farmer, but the farmer realizes a lot of service. You know, the ecological service, no? So from public point of view, we have not just the provision in production. We have a lot of products. I don't know yesterday where we went around in Tuscany, but you know that landscape is very beautiful. Is connected to touristic aspect. So farmer, I show just an image of Montichiello. I don't know if you know this place is in Val d'Orcia. No.
No, yesterday we were in Victoria.
Nipozzano, beautiful place also. But the farmer realized a landscape that is very important for tourism, and so very important for economic aspect. This is recreational value is included in cultural value, in cultural production. So we have a lot of from environmental point of view, the public value of the farmer is too much higher than the respected the value that I showed before. Respect to the long-term production losses, I say you about the term, the trend effect, you know? Is a trend, we estimate a trend effect about 10 years ago. We do a paper, and we estimated what was the economic impact in viticulture linked to the change, to the climate change. Just to understand what is the different phases of the study, we realized a climate model to evaluate the changing, the climate changing in the from the beginning of 2000 to the 2099. Then we realized a growing model to evaluate the modification of the production in this period. And so the final objective was to define the geographic information to know where we have the modification of production and the economic effect of this modification. I jump this for you is not important. Is like an investment. We define the present value. So we have the territory, we have the production every year, and we have a revenue. No. So if you have, if you must do an investment, you must evaluate all this cash flow and your value at present. So the present value is important to understand which is the economic effect during now to 100 years. Okay, so we consider two situations: scenarios normal without climate change, scenarios with climate change. Okay. So the difference, what is the difference, and what is the area where it's possible to continue to realize production of wine, or is not possible? This is the results just for wine. We have we consider Chianti Classico area. Yesterday we went Montalcino wine area, and some other DOCG. So the total value lost in this period is about 500 million of euro. And if we consider also the olive oil production and wheat, we have about 800 million of euro in this period, and it's about 6-7% of total production. So it's not so much, but it's important value. And the other aspect is important aspect is the surface. Change the surface. We have different surface that is not more able to produce wine, and we have a new area, obviously in a level higher than traditional situation. This is the trend effect. The problem is to evaluate the extreme event. The economic effect of the extreme event. And we are trying to define this aspect, and we define some steps to define this evaluation. So the first important aspect is to define what event is extreme. Define also the climate indicator that is linked to the extreme event and is able to define the intensity of this event. And is necessary to define some specific area. So it's important to have the best resolution is municipality, but it's impossible to have data for this detail. So we try to define this evaluation respect to the province, but it's not so easy. Now I show why. And the other aspect is to estimate the damage for this for each type of extreme event, and for the same resolution, territorial resolution. So I need the damage for province, and for this area, it's necessary to have also the specific climate indicator. The finally aspect is to check if there is a correlation between environmental index and estimated damage. To identify the extreme event and to estimate damage, we realize a database that is made by the disaster declaration of Tuscany region. So we have every time that happens some disaster, the region check the situation and define a public public document where estimated the damage, is able to define which kind of damage is there is, and also the quantity of estimate the quantity of damage. From this point, from this document, we define a set of extreme event, snow, flow, rain, etc. But also it's possible to have information about pathology. In the before talk about the Cinipide, no, peronospora. It's possible to know the damage from this kind of pathology. I don't know, but if you know, but last year we have had a big problem with the peronospora, and the damage, the estimated damage is 270 million euro just in Tuscany. So it's important. This kind of it's very problem for the enterprise. No, we remember the risk. So the action that you propose is directed to for the reduction of the risk. Is important. So from this document, we define a set of events, extreme event, and we define also the value of the damage. To identify the indicator, it's necessary to define the climate indicator for each type of event, and we use the European Extreme Event Climate Index. You can check the website. It's possible to find the index for different countries in Europe, and in Tuscany it's possible to find also for the region. So in Italy, sorry, it's possible to find also for region. So for your country, it's possible to use this indicator. but you don't find anything about the detail, with the territorial context of province. So we realize a new indicator like food stress, heat stress, etc., using our meteorological data. Okay. This is an example for Italy. Is heat stress, and it's possible to understand which is the effect of trend, but also it's possible to see the extreme event. No, the two effects that I say before. And in the table, you can see that in the first decade, 1981, 1999, just 6 events. In 2011, 2020, 42 events. So the trend is very important. The famous risk that we say before is very important for the enterprise. If you go in the website, you can check the sponsor of website. Is a bank and insurance. There is an objective motive. Sorry, I'm a forestry now. So enterprise go inside of the forest, cut the forest, and need money for this action. No. When sell the production after 6-9 months, so they need money, and they must go in the bank, take money, and then it's possible to realize the production. In agricultural sector, is the same. So the bank is in interest of the bank to know the risk to give you the money. So invest in indicator for evaluation about this aspect. So if you realize some action to reduce this risk, is important for this type of enterprise. No, sì, ma già finito. This data is related to the province of Florence. We reviewed the extreme precipitation index with our data, and it's possible to see the trend and the extreme event, also the level of the extreme level event. Sorry, and so it's important to check if the intensity of the event is connected to the intensity of the damage. At the moment, it is a work in progress. We have some problem to connect data with the damage with the climate data. First of all, data is related to the province, no? But province of Siena is bigger than Pistoia or some other. So the surface, agricultural surface, forest surface is different. Indicator is one. So we must check what is the modality to connect these two data. Probably we try is the damage is, you must consider euro for hectares, but euro for hectares of agricultural surface or agricultural surface and forest and so only forest. So this is a big problem. We have damage with the wind. Okay, wind in general is just forest. Okay, in Pistoia we have a big district of nursery farm. No, very big. So we have had a very big, important damage, economic damage, but is connected to the forest and to the agricultural sector. So you can understand it's not so easy to find the link. And also, we haven't a very big data. You can check the table. We have just, fortunately, just 76 events, no? And also we have other events. Also the fire. The fire is connected to the climate situation. So, and peronospora. So we have also the information about the pathology. Pathology is more complex. Someone of Simone shows something about the data in peronospora evolution, now connected to the temperature and also humidity, etc. So we must realize a model to understand which data, climate data, is important to define this damage. So it's not so easy. No number, okay. Also the other aspect is database. At the moment, we have a database of damage from 2014, 2023. So we must update the database. We find another source of data, of this kind of data, but it's not so easy to find, but we try. And finally, so next episode, I hope to be able to give you some data about damages from different situations. Filippo.
Thank you. Any questions? I have some questions. One question. You were saying that we need to calculate the damage due to extreme events of climate change. I was wondering how, for instance, because we have started working with insurance,
yeah,
and climate change recently. So, and this is a very big issue because I mean the insurance wants to pay to reimburse less the farmers since the extreme events are much more frequent. So I mean, again, for the farmers will be a problem because the insurance really cost will be higher, or I mean, we should find a way to extrapolate the actual damages due to extreme events, or support farmers to prevent accidents. So, as an economist, are you have you been contacted by insurance to extrapolate this information and really calculate the real costs due to that event instead of another event? Another event that might be caused by not good economic practices or not good behavior of farmers.
Perché ho visto ci sono gli altri, parlo, loro mi sentono. Ok. The damage is, for example, in this case, you know, the evaluation of the damage is the evaluation in the regional document is connected just to the just if the enterprise has a damage that is over the 30% of PLV production, the value of production, no? Gross production, sorry. And probably insurance is interested because the risk is increasing, is possible to see. And it is like the car, no? If you, every year you do some error, so some your insurance increasing, no? and now they is like sure that every year they must pay, no? And they don't want. So, but probably also the European political, the PAC, probably decided to define it obligatory for insurance, because it's true that they know also that it's probably that every year we have a very big damage. I don't know exactly what is the solution, because probably insurance, they will decide, don't realize a new insurance for agricultural sector, or for some agricultural sector. Or if you decide for a strategy, so some set of farmer decide to invest, to reduce, remove is impossible. So you can just to use strategy to reduce this risk. Probably they propose a lower payment for the insurance. But at the moment, I haven't a way for this problem. I check the data, and it's really dangerous to do an insurance for the agricultural sector.
In our experience, we are working with a farm in the Chianti area that this estate belongs to an insurance company, quite big, say the name, but the economists told us that they are not insured by themselves.
Yes.
Because it's too expensive. So they prefer to be insured by another company, because the damages are so much more frequent that they lose more money. So this is quite.
I think it's connected to the strategy of the farmer. If you will go in Badia Passignano, there is Antinori farm. Antinori rebuild all the wine production with the new come si chiamano le viti, la viticoltura, insomma il campo di il vigneto, with the water system, with is possible, yes, and this is very important now. If you remember last year, they has some problem with the water, no? And this is probably, if you have this system, if you want to do an insurance, is much better, much easy to find some enterprise that is able to give you an insurance. Is it the actual problem is exactly this? If you check the website of European Indicator, you find insurance and bank, because it's the problem. They know that, and they study exactly this application. You must find a way to reduce this risk, and you have just one way. You can move in the mountain, the wine production, probably.
At the same time, I think we should be more, the science should be more effective in communicating how to avoid as much as possible that damage. So I'm in agreement with the insurance that if you are cultivating a crop that is not drought resistant,
yes, I know.
Of course, or not late frost resistant. So of course, you will have.
And if we change the crop and we study to use the crop in the desert area, so we change is the unique way. Yes, don't need water. Okay, I put this kind. Must change the production. Is the unique way for me? I don't know if someone has a suggestion.
Other question? Okay, so thank you very much. I hope that we attended from Montenegro, from the other partners are We have some questions, comments. Okay. So let's have a coffee break. We will come back here in around now it's 10, 11:30, 10 to 12. Okay. Some departments we just got here for 10 to 12.
Yes, yes, all the time.